ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय उमाज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषाभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hari Bol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so today we continue from, I think it's chapter 6, text number 13, 14. Okay, I can read the first one. Samam kaya shirogrivam darayan achalam sthira samprekshya nashikagram svam dishascha prasannatatma vigatabir brahmachari vrate stita mana samyamyamachitto yukta ashita matpara. Word to word. Straight. Samam, straight. Kaya shira, body and head. Grivam, neck. Darayan, holding. Achalam, unmoved. Shtiraha, still. Samprekshya, looking. Nasika, nose. Agram, tip. Swayam, own. Dishaha, all sides. Cha, also. Anavalokayan, not seeing. Prashanta, unagitated. Atma, mind. Vikatabi, devoid of fear. Brahmacharivrate, in the vow of celibacy. Sthitaha, situated. Manaha, mind. Samyamya, completely subdued. Mat, unto me, Krishna. Chittaha, concentrated. Yuktaha, actual yogi. Ashita, being so. Mat, unto me. Paraha, ultimate goal. Translation. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The goal of life is to know Krishna, who is situated within the heart of all, within the heart of every living being as Paramatma, the four-handed Vishnu form. The yoga process is practiced in order to discover and see this localized form of Vishnu, and not for any other purpose. The localized Vishnu Murti is the plenary representation of Krishna dwelling within one's heart. One who has no program to realize this Vishnu Murti is uselessly engaged in mock yoga practice and is certainly wasting his time. Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and the Vishnu Murti situated in one's heart is the object of yoga practice. To realize this Vishnumurti within the heart, one has to observe complete abstinence from sex life. Therefore, one has to leave home and live alone in a secluded place, remaining seated as mentioned above. One cannot enjoy sex life daily at home or elsewhere and attend a so called yoga class and thus become a yogi. One has to practice controlling the mind and avoiding all kinds of sense gratification, of which sex life is the chief. In the rules of celibacy written by the great sage Yagnavalkya, it is said, Karmana manasa vacha sarvastva sarvavastasu sarvada sarvatra maituna tyago brahmacharyam prachakshate. The vow of brahmacharya is meant to help one completely abstain from sex indulgence in work, words, and mind, at all times, under all circumstances, and in all places. Very nice verse. Let's see if we can add this to the notes. Oh, Haribol.
It's in what scriptures, please? It is mentioned.
But Prabhu?
This verse, it's in what scripture? Is it mentioned in the
It's Bhagavad Gita 40.
purport or
Yes, Prabhu.
okay?
There is no verse in the purport from it is saying it's Yagnavalkya said, and there's the verse.
Okay. Yes. Thank
No one can perform correct yoga practice through sex indulgence. Brahmacharya is taught, therefore, from childhood when one has no knowledge of sex life. Children at the age of 5 are sent to the Gurukula or the place of the spiritual master, and the master trains the young boys in the strict discipline of becoming brahmacharis. Without such practice, no one can make advancement in any yoga, whether it be dhyana, jnana, or bhakti. One who, however, follows the rules and regulations of married life, having sexual relationship only with his wife, and that is also under regulation, it is also called brahmachari. Such a restrained householder brahmachari may be accepted in the bhakti school, but the jnana and dhyana schools do not admit even householder brahmacharis. They require complete abstinence without compromise. In the Bhakti school, a householder brahmachari is allowed controlled sex life because the cult of Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that one automatically loses sexual attraction being engaged in the superior service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Whereas others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification, a devotee of the Lord automatically refrains because of a superior taste. Other than the devotee, no one has any information of that superior taste. Vigata B. One cannot be fearless unless one is fully in Krishna consciousness. A conditioned soul is fearful due to his perverted memory, his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. The Bhagavatam says, Bayam dvitiya biniveshata syad ishat apetasya viparyayos smriti. Krishna consciousness is the only basis for fearlessness. Therefore, perfect practice is possible for a person who is Krishna conscious. And since the ultimate goal of yoga practice is to see the Lord within, a Krishna conscious person is already the best of all yogis. The principles of the yoga system mentioned herein are different from those of the popular so called yoga societies. Haribol, I read one more. Text number 15. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasha santim nirvana paramam matsamstam abhigachati. Word to word. Yunjan, practicing like this. Evam, as mentioned above, sada, constantly. Atmanam, body, mind, and soul. Yogi, the mystic transcendentalist. Niyatamanasha, regulated mind. Shantim, peace. Nirvana paramam, cessation of material existence. Matsam stam, in the spiritual sky, the kingdom of God. Abhigachati, thus attain. Translation. Thus practicing control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist attains to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. Purport. The ultimate goal in practicing yoga is now clearly explained. Yoga practice is not meant for attaining any kind of material facility. It is to enable the cessation of all material existence. One who seeks an improvement in health or aspires after material perfection is no yogi according to Bhagavad Gita. Nor does cessation of material existence entail one's entering into the void, which is only a myth. There is no void anywhere within the creation of the Lord. Rather, the cessation of material existence enables one to enter into the spiritual sky, the abode of the Lord. The abode of the Lord is also clearly described in the Bhagavad Gita as that place where there is no need of sun, moon, nor electricity. All the planets in the spiritual kingdom are self-illuminated like the sun in the material sky. The kingdom of God is everywhere, but the spiritual sky and the planets thereof are called Paramdhama or superior abodes. A consummate yogi is this A consummate yogi who is perfect in understanding Lord Krishna, as is clearly stated here in Matchitta Matparamasthanam by the Lord Himself, can attain real peace and can ultimately reach His supreme abode, the Krishna Loka, known as Goloka Vrindavan. In the Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated, Goloka eva nivasatya akhilatma bhuta, that the Lord, although residing always in his abode called Goloka, is the all-pervading Brahman and the localized Paramatma as well by dint of his superior spiritual energies. No one can reach the spiritual sky or enter into the eternal abode Vaikunta, Goloka Vrindavan of the Lord without the proper understanding of Krishna and his plenary expansion Vishnu. Therefore, a person working in Krishna consciousness is the perfect yogi because his mind is always absorbed in Krishna's activities. Savai manah Krishna padara vindayo. In the Vedas also we learn tam eva viditva timrityum eti. One can overcome the path of birth and death only by understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In other words, perfection of the yoga system is the attainment of freedom from material existence, and not some magical jugglery of gymnastic feats to befool innocent people. So the perfection of yoga system is attainment of freedom from material existence. Ribol. Hare Krishna, Drona Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Rahul Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Who wants to read next? Oh, does Gora Shakti Prabhu stop driving?
I can read one, then
Ribol.
I will go to Sankirtan.
Okay, I thought it's red lights only.
Yeah. So text 16. Nachasnatastu yogoshtim nachaikantam manasnataham nachatti swapna shilasyam jaglatunaiva charjunam. Now, never ati too much ashnataha, of one who eats so. 2. But yoga thinking with the supreme asti there is na no cha also become dumb, very low. Ashnataha abstaining from eating. Na no cha also ati too much. Svapna shilasya of one who sleep too much. Jaglataha or one who keeps night watch too much. Na not ever, never ever. Cha and Arjuna O Arjuna. Translation. There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleep too much or does not sleep enough. Purport. Regulation of diet and sleep is recommended herein for the yogis. Too much eating means eating more than is required to keep the body and soul together. There is no need for man to eat animals because there is an ample supply of grain, vegetable, fruit, and milk. Such simple foodstuff is considered to be in the mode of goodness according to the Bhagavad Gita. Animal food is for those who for those in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, those who indulge in animal food, drinking, smoking, and eating food which is not first offered to Krishna will suffer sinful reaction because of eating only polluted things. Punjate et vagam papaye papchanti atma kalatan. Anyone who eats for sense pleasure or cook for himself, not offering his food to Krishna, eat only sin. One who eats sin and eat more than is allowed to him cannot execute perfect yoga. It is best that one eat only the remnant of foodstuff offered to Krishna. A person in Krishna consciousness does not eat anything which is not first offered to Krishna. Therefore, only the Krishna conscious person can attain perfection in yoga practice. Nor can one who artificially abstain from eating, manufacturing his own personal process of fasting, practice yoga. The Krishna conscious person observes fasting as it is recommended in the scriptures. He does not fast or eat more than is required, and he is thus competent to perform yoga practice. One who eats more than required will dream very much while sleeping, and he must consequently sleep more than is required. One should not sleep more than 6 hours daily. One who sleeps more than 6 hours or out of 24 is certainly influenced by the mode of ignorance. A person in the mode of ignorance is lazy and prone to sleep a great deal. Such a person cannot perform yoga. Of course, it is not to follow like we are fanatic, you know. It depends of the person. There are persons who perhaps need more than 6 hours of sleep, you know. But they will also perform the devotional service very well, you know. Depends of the body, actually. Yeah. Prabhupada, I read, I forgot, it is perhaps a letter, said that actually even 7 hours, or it's okay, 7 or 8 hours, it's okay. So it depends of the body, actually. Not everyone has the same, you know, body. It depends of the karma that we have, but we had, but
It
you know.
changes sometimes. If someone works more, sometimes he has to sleep more, and when he works less, then he has to sleep a little less sometimes. So for a person,
so we have to adjust, you know. This verse is like a basis, you know, and then this purport is like the basis, and then we adjust. For example, if we said, oh, okay, I sleep 7 hours or 8 hours, it's not according to Prabhupada. No, we shouldn't think like that. You sleep 7 hours, but if you perform well, if you wake up for Mangalarati, and if you change your round, if you do everything good, it's all right. You can have this, rest. Uh, we I think it is important that everyone understand that this is not fanatic philosophy. We should apply our logic.
Yes, Prabhu.
Common sense. Yeah. Of course, if you sleep too much and it is an impediment for you because you cannot wake up for Mangalarati and you cannot perform well your
Also,
sadhana.
sleeping too
Of
less.
course,
If one is too tired when he chants his morning rounds and keeps falling asleep, then it's better to sleep earlier or something like this.
yes, Prabhu, yes. This is what I said. Because this is actually very important because it will affect our concentration, our focus during japa, during every activity that we should do. Even when we read, we will feel very sleepy.
Yeah, that's true.
And we will not understand anything actually.
Yes,
so it's very important to take care of this material body to perform well our sadhana. It should be very well balanced. So according to anyone, we have to analyze, and according to that verse and that purport, it should be the basis. We should take the basis and then, see, adjust. Oh, okay, I need to sleep more. I need to eat less.
Yes.
We should do like that. It is very important, actually. So, thank you very much. I want to go now. Thank you very much. I need to leave because I want to perform some Harinam Sankirtan before the sunset.
Yes,
it will. So thank you very much for your precious association, all of you. And yeah, it is a pleasure to read amongst all of you. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada. Okay, Haribol, who wants to continue?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisance. Jai Shri Ram, Prabhupada.
Yes, Prabhu.
Can I continue, Prabhu?
Yes, please, Prabhu. Thank you.
युक्ताहारा विहर्ष्य युक्ता चेतस्य कर्मसु युक्ता स्वपानभयो बोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः. Synonyms: yukta, regulated; ahara, eating; viharasya, recreation; yukta, regulated; chetasya, of one who works for maintenance; karmasu, in discharging duties; yukta, regulated; swapna avabodhasya, regulated sleep and wakefulness; yoga, practice of yoga; bhavati, becomes; dukkha, diminishing pains. Translation: he who is temperate in his habits of eating, sleeping, working, and recreation can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Purport: extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, which are demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasadam, sanctified food. Lord Krishna is offered, according to the Bhagavad Gita 9.26, vegetable, flowers, fruits, grains, milk, etc. In this way, a person in Krishna consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption or which is not in category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, a Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duties. In Krishna consciousness, and therefore any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. A Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of Lord. Therefore, his sleeping is kept to a minimum. His idol in his respect is Srila Rupa Goswami, who was always engaged in the service of Krishna and who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. Thakura Haridas would not even accept prasadam nor even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beads 300,000 times. As far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Krishna's interest, and thus his work is always regulated and is untainted by sense gratification. Since there is no sorry, question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for a person in Krishna consciousness, and because he is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all other bodily activities, there is no material misery for him. यदा विनियातं चित्तम् आत्मनि एवावति स्फते निष्पर सर्व कामेभ्यो युक्त इति चते तदा. Wait, Prabhu, a call is coming. I will come in a minute.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Srikant Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for joining, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Sai Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances on Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhu.
Very sunny in Finland, Prabhu, nice.
Yes, Prabhu. It's like plus 13. Usually it's not this warm.
Wow, right for you, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Tomorrow we have plus 18. It's like Krishna gave us 2 days of summer.
Wow. Thanks, Prabhu. Here also it's getting warmer, so.
Yes, Prabhu. That's
good.
really nice. Soon all the people will go out after the long winter.
Yes, Prabhu. Good chance for preaching for you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. From here.
Synonyms. Yada, when. Viniyatham, particularly discipline. Chittam, the mind and its activities. Atmani, in the transcendence. Eva, certainly. Avatisthate, becomes situated. Nispraha, devoid of. Sarva, all kinds of. Kamebhyaha, material desires. Yuktaha, well situated in yoga. Iti, thus. Uchyate, is said to be. Tada, at that time. Translation. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to have attained the yoga. Perfect. The activities of the yogi are distinguished from those of an ordinary person by his characteristic cessation from all kinds of material desires, of which sex is the chief. A perfect yogi is so well disciplined in the activities of the mind that he can no longer be disturbed by any kind of material desire. This perfectional stage can automatically be attained by persons in Krishna consciousness, as is stated in the Srimad Bhagavad. Tavai mana Krishna padarvindayor vasanchi vaikunta gunana varnane taram hare mandira marjanabhisho shrutim chakarachyuta sat kato gire mukunda linganaye darshani drisham tat prityagatra sparshe anga sangamam Granam Chatat Pada Pada Sarvaja Sauravi Srimad Tulasya Rasaram Tadarpite Padam Hare Kshetra Padaram Sarpane Ashiro Shiro Hishikesha Pada Vivandane Kamam Chadasyana Tu Kama Kamyaya Yatottama Shloka Janashraya Rati. What is the tune for this Prabhu? This 16 verses, 16 syllables, I know. One.
Yes, Prabhu. I think it's the normal one.
Okay.
Padau Hare Kshetra Padanusharpane Shiro Hrishikesha Padabhivandane. Like this.
Yes, Lord. Kamam Chadashena tu Kama Kamyaya Yato Tama Shloka Yajana Ashraya Ratihi. Yes, Lord.
Yes, Prabhu.
King Ambarisha first of all engaged his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then, one after the another, he engaged his words in describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord, his hands in mopping the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the activities of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the transcendental forms of the Lord, his body in touching the bodies of the devotees, his sense of smell in smelling the scents of the lotus flower offered to the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulasi leaf offered at the lotus feet of the Lord, his legs in going to places of pilgrimage and the temple of the Lord, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in executing the mission of the Lord. All these transcendental activities are quite befitting of you, devotee. This transcendental stage may be inexpressible subjectively by the followers of the impersonalist path, but it becomes very easy and practical for a person in Krishna consciousness, as is apparent in the above description of the engagements of Maharaja Ambarisha. Unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord by constant remembrance, such transcendental engagements are not practical. In the devotional service of the Lord, therefore, these prescribed activities are called archana, or engaging all the senses in the service of the Lord. The senses and the mind require engagements. Simple abnegation is not practical. Therefore, for people in general, especially those who are not in the realms order of life, transcendental engagement of the senses and the mind is described as described above is the perfect process for transcendental achievement, which is called Yukta in the Bhagavad Gita. Yes, so I can read one more if it's okay.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
यथा दीपो निवतास्तो नेङ्गेते सोपमा श्रुता योगिनो यतचित्तस्य युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः. Synonyms: yata, as; deepaha, lamp; nivatastha, in a place without wind; na, does not; yungate, waver; sa upama, compared to that; smrita, likened; yoginaha, of the yogi; yata chittasya, whose mind is controlled; yunjataha, constantly engaged in; yogam, meditation; atmanaha, on transcendence. Translation: as a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist whose mind is controlled remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendental self. So can you go back? Just been trying to understand. Remain steady in the meditation on the transcendent self. So this transcendent self is Paramatma, right? Is that what is being referred to here?
Yes, Prabhu.
Perfect. A truly Krishna conscious person always absorbed in transcendence, in constant undisturbed meditation on his worship of the Lord, is as steady as a lamp in a windless place. Wow. Like Sudha Gopal Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh.
Oh, this one is long one.
So maybe Rahul Prabhu or Drona Prabhu can continue.
Does anyone want to read?
Okay, I will read one. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Janatna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, I can read one.
Okay, Haribol.
Yatro paramante chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivattamatmanam pashyan atmani tushyati sukham atyantikam yat tad buddhi graham atindriyam veti yatra na chaivaryam स्थितस् चलति तत्वतः यम लब्ध्वा चापरम लाभम मन्यते.
Oh, Prabhu's connection cut. यं लब्ध्वा च परं लाभ्मा मन्यते नाधिकं तथा यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचाल्यते तद्विद्या दुःखसंयोगा वियोगं योगसंज्ञितम्. Okay, Prabhu.
Sorry, Prabhu, but
No problem, Prabhu. You can continue from here.
yeah, I try to take a screenshot and it's unstable. The meeting gets cancelled.
Yes, Prabhu.
So it's very problematic. Sorry.
Okay.
Synonyms. Yatra, in that state of affairs, upra mate, when one feels transcendental happiness, chitta, mental activities, rudham, restraint from matter, yoga sevaya, by performance of yoga, yatra, in that cha, also eva, certainly atmana, by the pure mind, atmanam, self, pashan, realizing the position, atmani, in the self, tushyati, become satisfied, sukham, happiness, atyantikam, supreme, yat, in which that buddhi, intelligence, graham, acceptable, atindriyam, transcendental, veti, knows, yatra, wherein, na, never, cha, also, eva, certainly, am, in this stita, situated, chalati, moves, tatvata, from the truth, yam, that which labdva, by attainment, cha, also, aparam, any other, labham, gain, manyate, does not mind, no, never, adhikam, more than that, tata, from that, yasmin, in which, sthita, being situated, no, never, dukhena, by miseries, guru, napi, even though very difficult, which lete becomes shaken, term that with death you must know, dukkha samyoga, miseries of material contact, viyogam, extermination, yoga, samritam, trance in yoga. Translation: the stage of perfection is called trance or samadhi when one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness and enjoys himself through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Purport. By practice of yoga, one becomes gradually detached from material concepts. This is the prime characteristic of the yoga principle. And after this, one becomes situated in trance or samadhi, which means that the yogi realizes the supersoul through transcendental mind and intelligence without any of the misgivings of identifying the self with the superself. Yoga practice is more or less based on the principles of the Patanjali system. Some unauthorized commentators try to identify the individual soul with the super soul, and the monists think there is to be liberation, but they do not understand the real purpose of the Patanjali system of yoga. There is an acceptance of transcendental pleasure in the Patanjali system, but the monists do not accept this transcendental pleasure out of fear of jeopardizing the theory of oneness. The duality of knowledge and knower is not accepted by the non-dualists, but in this verse, transcendental pleasure realized through transcendental senses is accepted. And this is corroborated by the Patanjali Muni, the famous exponent of the yoga system. The great sage declares in his Yoga Sutras, Purushartha Shunyam Gunanam Prati Prasavah Kaivalyam Swarupa Pratishtha Va Chitti Shakti Iti. This Chitti Shakti or internal potency is transcendental. Purushartha means material religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and at the end, attempt to become one with the Supreme. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That um, this oneness with the Supreme is called Kaivalyam by the monist. But according to Patanjali, this Kaivalyam is an uh, internal or transcendental potency by which the living entity becomes aware of its constitutional position. In the words of Lord Chaitanya, this state of affairs is called Cheto Darpana Marjanam, or clearance of the impure mirror of the mind. This clearance is actually liberation or Mahadavagni Nirvakanam. The theory of nirvana also preliminarily corresponds with this principle. In the Bhagavatam, this is called Swarupena Vivastiti. The Bhagavad Gita also confirms this situation in this verse. After nirvana or material cessation, there is the manifestation of spiritual activities or devotional service of the Lord known as Krishna consciousness. In the words of the Bhagavatam, Swarupena Vivastiti, this is the real life of the living entity. Maya or illusion is the condition of spiritual life contaminated by material infection. Liberation from this material uh, infection does not mean destruction of the original eternal position of the living entity. Patanjali also accepts this by his words, Kavalyam Swarupa Pratishtha va Chitti Shaktir iti. This Chitti Shaktir or transcendental pleasure is real life. This is confirmed in the Vedanta Sutras as Anandmaya Abhyasat. This natural transcendental pleasure is the ultimate goal of yoga and is easily achieved by execution of devotional service or bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga will be vividly described in the seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the yoga system, as described in this chapter, there are two kinds of samadhi called sampragnat samadhi and asampragnat samadhi. When one becomes situated in the transcendental position by various philosophical researches, it is called sampragnat samadhi. In the asampragnat samadhi, there is no longer any connection with mundane pleasure, for one is then transcendental to all sorts of happiness derived from the senses. When the yogi is once situated in that transcendental position, he is never shaken from it. Unless the yogi is able to reach this position, he is unsuccessful. Today's so-called yoga practice, which involves various sense pleasures, is contradictory. A yogi indulging in sex and intoxication is a mockery. Even those yogis who are attracted by the siddhis perfections in the process of yoga are not perfectly situated. If the yogis are attracted by the byproducts of yoga, then they cannot attain the stage of perfection as is stated in this verse. Persons, therefore, indulging in the make-show practice of gymnastic feats or siddhis should know that the aim of yoga is lost in that way. The best practice of yoga in this age is Krishna consciousness, which is not baffling. Krishna conscious person is so happy in his occupation that he does not aspire after any other happiness. There are many impediments, especially in this age of hypocrisy, to practice Hatha Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, but there is no such problem in executing Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. As long as the material body exists, one has to meet the demands of the body, namely eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. But a person who is in pure bhakti yoga or in Krishna consciousness does not arouse the senses while meeting the demands of the body. Rather, he accepts the bare necessities of life, making the best use of a bad bargain, and enjoys transcendental happiness in Krishna consciousness. He is callous towards incidental occurrences such as accidents, disease, scarcity, and even the death of a most dear relative, indifferent. But he is always alert to execute his duties in Krishna consciousness or bhakti yoga. Accidents never deviate from his duty. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Agama Paino Nityas Tam Stitikshasa Bharata. He endures all such incidental occurrences because he knows they will come and go and do not affect his duties. In this way, he achieves the highest perfection in yoga practice.
Thank you, Prabhu. Want to
Oh,
read?
thank you. Thank you.
I can read the next one.
I can read one more. It's all right.
Okay, Prabhu. Yes, please do.
Okay. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with undeviating, sanishchena yoktavyo yoga anirvina chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams tyaktva sarvan asheshatah manasevendriya kramam viniyamya samantata. Synonyms. So that yoga system nishchena with firm determination yoktavya must be practiced. Yoga in such practice a nirvana chetasha without deviation sankalpa material desires prabhavan born of common sense gratification tyakva giving up sarvan all asheshata completely manasa by the mind eva um, eva certainly India Gramam, the full set of senses, Viniyamya, regulating Saman Tataha from all sides. Translation. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with undeviating determination and faith. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of false ego and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Purport. The yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue this course with great perseverance, not becoming discouraged if there is any delay in the attainment of success. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Regarding Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha Nishchaya Dharya Tatta Karma Pravartanat Sanga Tyagat Sato Vrite Sadbhe Bhakti Prasiddhati. The process of Bhakti Yoga can be executed successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination by following the prescribed duties in the association of devotees and by engaging completely in activities of goodness. As for determination, one should follow the example of the sparrow who lost her eggs in the waves of the ocean. A sparrow laid her eggs on the shore of the ocean, but the big ocean carried away the eggs on its waves. The sparrow became very upset and asked the ocean to return her eggs. The ocean did not even consider her appeal. So the sparrow decided to dry up the ocean. She began to pick out the water in her small beak, and everyone laughed at her for her impossible determination. The news of her activity spread, and at last Garuda, the gigantic bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, heard it. He became compassionate um, toward his small sister bird, and so he came to see the sparrow. Garuda was very pleased by the determination of the small sparrow, and he promised to help. Thus Garuda at once asked the ocean to return her eggs, lest he himself take up the work of the sparrow. The ocean was frightened at this and returned the eggs. Thus the sparrow became happy by the grace of Garuda. Similarly, the practice of yoga, especially bhakti yoga and Krishna consciousness, may appear to be a very difficult job. But if anyone follows the principles with great determination, the Lord will surely help. For God helps those who help themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Is the story of Garuda and Sparrow?
Thank you.
Very motivating.
Yes, Prabhu. Shrikant Prabhu, you want to read more?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
शनैः शनैरुपरमेत् बुद्धिया धृतिगृहीतयाः आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चित् अपि चिन्तयेत्. Synonym: Shanaihi, gradually; Shanaihi, step by step; Uparamet, hesitated; Buddhaya, by intelligence; Dhriti Grihataya, carrying the conviction; Atma Samstam, placed in transcendence; Manaha, mind; Kritva, doing so; Na, nothing; Kinchit, anything else; Api, even; Chintayet, be thinking of. Translation: Gradually, step by step, with full conviction, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Purport: by proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. This is called pratyahara. The mind, being controlled by conviction, meditation, and cessation of the senses, should be situated in trance or samadhi. At that time, there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in the material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved with matter, as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of the Supreme Self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चञ्चलम् अस्थिरं ततस्ततो नियम्यत आत्मनि एव वशं नयेत्. Synonyms: yatah, whatever; yatah, wherever; nischalati, verily agitated; manah, the mind; chanchalam, flickering; astiram, unsteady; tatah, from there; tatah, and thereafter; niyamya, regulating; etat, this; atmani, in the self; eva, certainly; vasam, control; nayet, must bring in. Translation: from whatever and wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Purport: the nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady, but a self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind and therefore the senses as well is called Goswami or Swami, and one who is controlled by the mind is called Godasa or the servant of the senses. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of Rishikesha or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. That is the way of bringing the senses under full control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of yoga practice. Wow. Goswami Godasa. Nice. प्रशान्तमनसं ह्येनं योगिनां सुखम् उत्तमम् उपैति शान्तरजसं ब्रह्मभूतम् अकल्मषम्. Synonyms: Prashanta, mind fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna; Manasam, of one whose mind is so fixed; He, certainly; Enam, this; Yoginam, the yogi; Sukham, happiness; Uttamam, so if you could follow; Uttamam, the highest; Upaiti, attains; Santa Rajasam, pacified passion; Brahma Bhutam, liberated by identification with the Absolute; Akal Vasham, free from all past sinful reaction. Translation: the yogi whose mind is fixed on me really attains the highest happiness. By virtue of his identity with Brahman, he is liberated. His mind is peaceful, his passions are quieted, and he is freed from sin. Purport: Brahma Bhuta is the state of being free from material contamination and situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. Bhagavad Gita 18.54. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai Manaha Krishna Padara Vindayoho. To be always engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination. Over here in the last line, it says to be always engaged, like how Ambarish Maharaj says. Is so only when you're always engaged, you are factually liberated from the mode of passion, or
Yes, Prabhu.
just by attempting to go into that stage? Because Kanishthadikari, in the Kanishthadikari stage, we cannot be in the situation, right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. When we serve Prabhupada, then we can be true Prabhupada in this stage. But when we
Yes,
start
Prabhu.
serving, then always we fall back to the, because we have passion and all these things, they can be transformed by service, but otherwise we have the passion in normal way. So it has to be always
Normal way.
transformed into the service.
Yes, Prabhu.
Because Prabhupada is doing transcendental loving service, and we are just trying to give some help in his
Yes, Prabhu.
service. It's
We are
not that we
serving
are
the
doing
spiritual master.
transcendental loving service.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. That is correct. So we are just helping Prabhupada,
Yes,
and
Prabhu.
then by that we are being in that transcendental realization.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. I can read this as well, but that's fine.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukham ashnute. Synonyms. Yunjan, thus being engaged in yoga practice. Evam, thus, sada, always. Atmanam, self. Yogi, one who is in touch with the Supreme Self. Vigata is freed from kalmashaha, all material contamination. Sukhena, in transcendental happiness. Brahma samsparsham, being in constant touch with the Supreme. Atyantam, highest. Sukham, happiness. Ashnuti, attains. Translation. Steady in the self, being freed from all material contamination, the yogi achieves the highest perfectional stage of happiness in touch with the Supreme Consciousness. Self-realization means knowing one's constitutional position in relationship to the Supreme. The individual soul is part and parcel of the Supreme, and his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord. This transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Samsparsha. Brahma Samsparsha. Okay. सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मानि इक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः. Synonyms. Sarvabhutastam, situated in all beings. Atmanam, the super soul. Sarva, all. Bhutani, entities. Cha, also. Atmani, in the self. Ikshate, does see. Yoga Yuktatma, one who is dovetailed in Krishna consciousness. Sarvatra, everywhere. Samadarshanaha, seeing equally. Translation. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized man sees me everywhere. Like Uttama Adhikari, right, bro? This one. A true yogi. Perfect. A Krishna consciousness yogi is the perfect seer because he sees Krishna, the Supreme, situated in everyone's heart as Supreme Super Soul. Paramatma, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Sistati. The Lord in this Paramatma feature is situated within both the heart of the dog and that of a Brahmana. The perfect yogi knows that the Lord is eternally transcendental and is not materially affected by his presence in either a dog or a Brahmana. That is the supreme neutrality of the Lord. The individual soul is also situated in the individual heart, but he is not present in all hearts. That is the distinction between the individual soul and the supersoul. One who is not factually in the practice of yoga cannot see so clearly. A Krishna conscious person can see Krishna in the heart of both the believer and non-believer. In the Smriti, this is confirmed as follows. Ata Tatvacha Matravya Matrivat Atmahi Paramo Harihi. The Lord, being the source of all beings, is like the mother and the maintainer. As the mother is neutral to all different kinds of children, the Supreme Father or Mother is also. Consequently, the Supersoul is always in every living being. Outwardly also, every living being is situated in the energy of the Lord. As will be explained in the 7th chapter, the Lord has primarily two energies, the spiritual or superior and material or inferior. The living entity, also part of the superior energy, is conditioned by the inferior energy. The living entity is always the Lord's energy. Every living entity is situated in him one way or the other. The yogi sees equally because he sees that all living entities, also in different situations according to the results of fruitive work, in all circumstances remain the servants of God. While in the material energy, the living entity serves the material senses, and while in spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either case, the living entity is the servant of God. This vision of equality is perfect in a person in Krishna consciousness. Very good. Thank you, Prabhu.
Good. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Cake Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Drona Prabhu, Tandarpanam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Pandit Prabhu, Dona Prabhu, Tandarpanam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Oh, there was some Mataji. I don't know how some Mataji got here, but I had to remove her. So there's Mataji in the Vaishnava Sangha. We need to remove from there. Okay, who wants to read the next one? Kunal Prabhu or Drona Prabhu or Cake Prabhu? Okay, I can read also. I think we
Prabhu,
can.
can I continue?
Yes, Prabhu. Haribol. That would be nice. Let's read 2 more verses.
Okay. From where? Okay.
I think it's this one.
Yoma.
Third.
Okay. यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वं च मयि पश्यति तस्याहं न प्रणाश्यामि स च मे न प्रणाश्यति. Synonyms are whoever, mam, me, pashyati sees, sarvatra everywhere, sarvam everything, cha and my in me, pashyati he sees, tasya his, aham I, na not, pranashami am lost, sa he, cha also me, to me, na nor, pranashyati is lost. Translation: for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Purport: a person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Lord Krishna everywhere and he sees everything in Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of the material nature, but in each and every instance, he is conscious of Krishna. Knowing that everything is the manifestation of Krishna's energy, nothing can exist without Krishna. and Krishna is the Lord of everything. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the development of law of Krishna, a position transcendental even to material liberation. It is a stage beyond self-realization, at which the devotee becomes one with Krishna, in the sense that Krishna becomes everything for the devotee, and the devotee becomes full. In loving Krishna, an entire relationship between the Lord and the devotee then exists. In that state, the living entity attains his immortality, nor is the personality of Godhead ever out of the sight of the devotee. To merge in Krishna is spiritual annihilation. A devotee takes no such risk. It is stated in Brahma Samhita. प्रेमाञ्जना भक्तिविलोचनेन सदा सदा वै हृदयेषु विलोकयन्ति यं श्यामसुन्दरम् अचिन्त्यगुणस्वरूपं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमं भजामि. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by devotee, whose eyes are anointed with the pearl of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Shama Sundara, situated within the heart of the devotee. At this stage, Lord Krishna never disappears from the sight of the devotee, nor does the devotee ever lose sight of the Lord. In the case of a yogi who sees the Lord as Paramatma within the heart, the same implies such a yogi turns into a pure devotee and cannot bear to live for a moment without seeing the Lord with himself.
Okay, Haribol, last verse. You want to read, Prabhu?
Yes. सर्वभूता स्थितं यो मां भाजति एकत्वम् अस्तिह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि स योगी मायि वर्तते. Synonyms: sarvabhuta sthitam, situated in everyone's heart. Ya, he, mu, mam, unto, me. Bhajati serves in devotional service. Ekatvam, oneness. Asthya, the situated. Sarvata, in all respects. Vartamana, being situated. Api, in spite of. Saha, he. Yogi, transcendentalist. My, unto me. Vardate, remains. Translation: the yogi who knows that I and the Supersoul within all creatures are one, who worships me and remains always in me in all circumstances. Purport: a yogi who is practicing meditation on the Supersoul sees within himself the plenary portion of Krishna's Vishnu, with four hands holding conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. The yogi should know that Vishnu is not different from Krishna. Krishna in this form of super soul is situated in everyone's heart. Furthermore, there is no difference between the innumerable super souls present in the innumerable hearts of living entities. Nor is there a difference between a Krishna conscious person, always engaged in the transcendental living service of Krishna, and a perfect yogi engaged in meditation on the Supersoul. The yogi in Krishna consciousness, even though he may be engaged in various activities while in material existence, remains always situated in Krishna. This is confirmed in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Srila Rupa Goswami. Nikhileshu avasthasu Jiva sa uchyate, a devotee of the Lord, always acting in Krishna consciousness, is automatically liberated. In the Nara Pancharatra, this is confirmed in this way. दिन कालादि अनाववच्छिने कृष्णे चेतो विद्या च तन्मयो भवति क्षिप्रं जीवो ब्राह्मणी योजयेत्. By concentrating one's attention on the transcendental form of Krishna, who is all pervading and beyond time and space, one becomes absorbed in thinking of Krishna and then attains the happy state of transcendental association with him. Krishna consciousness is the highest stage of trance in yoga practice. This This very understanding that Krishna is present as Paramatma in everyone's heart makes the yogi faultless. Faultless. The Vedas confirm this inconceivable potency of the Lord as follows. Ekopi san bahudha yo vabhati ashirvaryad rupam ekam cha suryavad bahudhyate. Vishnu is one, and yet he is certainly all-pervading. By his inconceivable potency, in spite of his one form, he is present everywhere. As the sun, he appears in many places at once.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, now we read the six Astakam prayers. चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादवाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्. Oh, Srikant Prabhu left. Okay, I can read also. नाम्नामकारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रार्पितानि अमिता स्मरणेन काला एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन्ममापि दुर्दैवं मीदृशमिह जानिनानुरागः तृणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानीना मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरि नदनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि अयि नन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजा स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तया नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलकनिचितं वपुः कदा तव नाम गृहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्राविर्शायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे अश्लिष्य वा पादरतं विनष्टु मामदर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पतो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव न परः. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my speech be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separations, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Haribol, Sri Siksastakam Ki Jai. Okay, then we read the 10 offenses to the holy name. First offense, to blaspheme the devotees who had dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second offense, to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. Third offense, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master or consider him as an ordinary person. Fourth offense, what was this? I forgot the fourth offense. It's not karma kanda. Which one it is? To blaspheme. Ah, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. Oh, I failed. Fifth offense, to give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. Sixth offense, to give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. Seventh offense, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. Eighth offense, to consider chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. Ninth offense, to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Tenth offense, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain materialistic attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Let us offer our humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Oh, yes, Cake Prabhu, you were right. Let us offer our humble obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are just like desired trees, who can fulfill all desires and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpatarupyascha kripa sindhupya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananda Gaudiya Vaishnava ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.